Hi, it's Janae here for my 7th floss tube video. Thanks for stopping by. It's been a while, I know, and that's because I was out of town and I was taking some tests for school, then I went on vacation. I spent some time in British Columbia and Western Alberta, which was absolutely beautiful. Mountains like they should be. Just nice big mountains with beautiful green pine trees all the way up, and then the water there is gorgeous. It's crystal clear and it's this greeny blue jewel turquoise color. It's just amazing. I loved it so much. So that was a lot of fun. And other than that, I've been doing a little bit of stitching, but not much, mostly haul this month. But I did have a finish. The exciting news is that I finished my Faith sampler, which is a huge accomplishment for me. It's my first hardanger piece, so I got to learn a lot of new specialty stitches. It's called the Faith Sampler, and it's by Emmy Bishop, published by Cross and Patch. It's back from the 90s, so it's pretty old, but I have seen other pieces in that line in my LNS. She also has like a love one, a charity one, a hope one, and I have seen a couple of those in my LNS. So they are still available, just not widely available. So anyway, I wanted to show you my finish. I finished the last band on this sampler, and that kind of took me a couple months. I kind of put it on hold for a couple of months because it's a little overwhelming, but it really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So this is the sampler, the complete sampler. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but this bottom part with all the cutouts is what I completed. So I kind of want to give you a good close-up look of this part because I think you can appreciate it more close-up, and it's gorgeous. So here's that last band in a closer view. I just put a navy book behind it just so you can kind of see the details a little bit better. Down here in this corner, I wrote my name and the date. The first time I've written my complete name, so that was kind of interesting, and I think it turned out okay. Yeah, I don't know how it could have been better because I don't want to make the back stitching any bigger. As it is, these back stitches are like 4 small boxes high, so 2 X's high. And if I make it any bigger, I just don't want to draw away from the piece. So I'll give you a little close-up look. It's kind of hard to read, but if you know what it says, it's easy to tell. But I decided to do my full name like that because I decided to give this as a gift. Because as I was working on it, someone I love was really admiring it. And so I thought I would give it to her because she has given a lot of quilts away throughout her lifetime, and you know, she hasn't gotten tons and tons of handmade gifts in return, I don't think, and so I thought she would really enjoy this and treasure it. So I decided to give it to her, my grandmother. So I do have some progress pictures that I've been posting on Instagram for this, and I like that because it kind of shows the process of how to complete this entire band. So if we look up close here, you can see that there are all these satin stitches. Above those are these knots called Palestrina knots, which I had higher up in the piece as well. And then we have the dove's eyes, followed by a row of woven bars. And then these guys, which are called double buttonholes, I believe. And they look really complex, but they're not that difficult. And I really like how they turned out. And I will admit they're not perfect, especially like these ones where they had to share here in the middle. Those ones are okay, but that's not great. But anyway, they're okay. for my first try. I think they're good. And then we have the woven bars down here, and then more dove's eyes. And then underneath, instead of the Palestrina knots, there is this four-sided stitch, which is just, it's basically just back stitching. The interesting thing is, if you do it right, it's an X in the back, like on the back of the piece. It's the shape of an X. So anyway, that was just a really fun piece of this cross stitch, kind of like the crowning bar, the crowning row in this cross stitch, and I loved doing it. It can be kind of exhausting doing all of these, you know, down and up and down and up. So very repetitious, but I enjoyed it, and it was not as difficult as I had feared, which is why I'd put it on the shelf for so long. Even though I've showed you a close-up of the piece before, I thought I'd go ahead and show you again since it's now final. And I've talked about all these different rows before, so I'm not gonna go into it now, but this is what the higher rows look like. Now there were supposed to be beads around the dove's eyes in this row, so like a bead here, 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 and here. But I do have the beads, but I just don't think it's necessary, so I just left them off. And if you remember, I changed the colors of this flower garland. It was charted to be sage and magenta, but I changed it to sage, yellow, and lavender, which I think is really beautiful. And then this is just so beautiful. I love this row. It's not difficult, but it's just beautiful. I love that. And then the last one, of course, which we already had a look at. And I think it turned out beautifully. So all in all, this project actually only took me about 8 months, I think, because I started it around Christmas time last year and I finished it in August, end of August. So about 8 months, which, all things considered, I think that's pretty good. In the meantime, I also completed the tablecloth and the alphabet sampler and the Lantern Lane red house. And so I think overall I've been doing pretty well as far as getting finishes in. So this is my 4th finish for this year, not counting the Little Snowflower Diaries. I guess I've done 3 of those. This would be my 7th finish for this year if we're counting those. But I love it, and being kind of a special piece, and then also as it's going to be a gift, I am definitely going to custom frame it. And so while I was at home and after I finished it, my mom and I kind of went crazy for 2 days before I left to try to find a frame so that we could leave it to be framed before I left. But despite many options, which I'll show you here, I couldn't really decide on one frame being better than another. And ultimately, I think that's the key, is that any of these frames would look good with this piece, and it doesn't matter one way or the other. The 2 things that are most important to me in the framing is that it is a gold frame. I'd really like an antique gold frame on it with a fillet, which is the metal part around the piece between the frame and the mat. And I just think that gives it a nice, elegant, more finished look. And so that's what I want in a frame. And then the mat is a little less important, but at the same time, I don't want a very bold color. I originally thought I wanted a cream, but a lot of the framers kind of talked me out of that, kind of pushed me towards a more gray-green mat, which I think is nice. But then I have to consider as well the color to go behind the piece, because as it has cutouts, I need to buy a mat to go behind it too. I don't want white because that's way too stark, but I don't want it dark either, because my mom has framed one with a dark mat behind it before, and we didn't really like it. She's actually going to have that one reframed because it just doesn't look good. So I want like a cream, so like a darker white, so like a cream behind the piece. This is going to sound ridiculous, but not a yellow-based cream, a gray-based cream. So I say I don't really know what I want, and I'm okay with whatever, but I guess I do have kind of some specific ideas about what I want, and that's kind of been troublesome because, you know, what I see in my head isn't always available at the shop. So anyway, that's kind of a work in progress still, the full finishing of this, but hopefully by my next video, actually, maybe I can at least have it dropped off and like decided. So unfortunately, since I gave up on it, I folded it up to store in a little bag, and that's why it's all wrinkly, so sorry about that. But when I do have it fully finished, I'll of course show it, and it will be all ironed out, obviously, and beautiful. So yeah, that is my finish for this time. Okay, I pretty much have one whip that you've seen before. I am still working on the Christmas presents, but I actually haven't worked on those at all, so I probably should be focusing on those since it's already October almost. Ugh. So I have a lot of work to do before Christmas. But this is Liberty's Welcome, which you have seen before, and I really haven't done much on it. But it's Liberty's Welcome by Plum Street Samplers. Now, this is a lot like Lantern Lane, and then I'm having trouble with the colors, and so I've set it aside. I really haven't worked on it too much, but now that I pull it out, I think the colors are probably okay. Really, it just depends on the lighting, I think. So let me hold this up to the camera a little closer so you can see what I mean by that. Okay, so here's Lantern Lane, sorry. It is a lot like Lantern Lane in many respects, but no, this is Liberty's Welcome up close. So last time you saw it, I actually don't remember, but I'm pretty sure I had all of this done, including the windows and the little roof above the windows. And I had started on the house. Now, the problem here is I am doing this on 40 count, so I'm doing it 1/2. I've never done a piece 1/2 before, but I think it turned out okay with the roof. However, if you look closely at the roof, you can see that a bit of the fabric is actually shining through. And that's okay because the roof is a dark color. Now, the reason that bothers me is because when it shines through this lighter color that is the house, it really makes the house less visible, I think. Of course, in this light, I think there is enough of a contrast between the house and the fabric that it's fine. Here is another thing I tried doing 2/2, and it just looks so bulky and terrible. It's just, I mean, I'm taking all that out, but that, just so you know, this is why you do 1/2 on 40 count. Also, to like kind of reassure myself that it was gonna look fine, I started working on the shutter, because one of my friends on Instagram, or one of my followers on Instagram mentioned that once the shutters and the windows are in, the house is not going to be, difficult to see contrast here. So I decided to start working on the shutter, and honestly, I haven't looked at this in like over a month, and I think it looks nice. Actually, I guess it's only been like 2 or 3 weeks, but I think it looks fine, and I think this color is going to be fine. Maybe I'll consider backstitching in this color itself around the outside, and that might help make it stand out a little bit more, but I think it's going to be okay. You wouldn't believe I've gone to the store a couple of times to look for different colors for the house and just haven't really found anything better, you know, and we thought about doing the house in white, which is the color here around the windows. But I don't know if that would be any better either. So anyway, that is Liberty's Welcome. Obviously, I'm having issues with it, but you know what? It's gonna work out in the end because Lantern Lane worked out in the end, mostly, and this is gonna be fine. So other than my Christmas gifts, those are all the whips I have running right now, except for I do have 2 new starts. So I'll go ahead and show you those. My first new start, which I have a good amount done on it, not a ton, there's still quite a bit to go, but it's another hardanger piece, the chart of which I borrowed from my mother, because guess what, she did this one too, and it is called Needlework Fantasy. It is also by Emmy Bishop, and it has a lot of the same stitches in it as the one that I just completed, the Faith Sampler. It's very simple. If you look close, you can see there's beads in the piece. I'm not going to do the beads because I think the beads are just a little too much. And well, my mom didn't do beads, and it looks really nice. So anyway, this is, oh geez. This is how far I've gotten on it, and, oh, okay. So the hard thing about this piece is that it's square and it's like a mirror image on all sides, so it's hard to remember which way is up. And I understand that's like a similar problem with chatelaines. Now, I don't think that's a big problem, as long as all your crosses go the same way, but it was bothering me, so I just tied a little knot here at the top of the piece. So this is the top of the piece, and I just tied a little bow so I could remember that that was the top. Anyway, this is how far I've gotten. There's a little bit of woven bars and clusters in the middle. There's a lot of hearts. And I didn't realize that, just looking at my mom's finish, I didn't realize how many hearts were in it. I'm not super into hearts, to be honest, but I think this looks, I just know this is going to look beautiful because I've seen my mom's. So I've finished the inside, but there are some cross stitches in there that I have not done. And I've finished the inside border. And then there's another border like this, just a few stitches outside there, and then there's more hearts. So this is actually really easy. The only hard thing is deciding like how you're going to travel. Like I'm going to do this heart, then this box, and this heart, and this box. That was difficult to decide, but other than that, I think it's looking pretty nice. So this is a fun piece, very simple, and yeah, I think it's going to look beautiful. My other new start kind of incorporates some haul that I got. So I don't know if I should do haul. I think I'll do haul first, and then I'll show you this because this is kind of exciting. So I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so my first piece of haul is this magazine, which I actually bought on French eBay. I've never bought anything on eBay before, and then my first time was in French, and I don't speak French, so it was kind of a challenge. I do speak Spanish, and there are some similarities, at least in like word roots. I obviously have no idea how to pronounce French, but I could muddle my way through the French website without too many issues. This is the April-May 2005 issue. You can see that down here, just in case you're interested in getting it yourself. It is this magazine, De Fil en Aiguille. I'm guessing that means needle, because in Spanish I think needle is aguja. Oh my gosh, I don't know, you guys. Anyway, this issue is all about princesses, so a lot of little girl pieces. And I found this issue through Anna's floss tube. She has some really beautiful pieces that she's working on, and she did this ABC sampler, princess sampler, for a friend who just had a baby girl, and she did so many conversions on it and put in pretty petite treasure braid and just made the colors really rich, and it was beautiful. I loved it. So I decided that I had to do it too. My college roommate, one of my best friends from college, actually just had a little girl too. And so I thought, oh, that's the perfect opportunity, but now I just have a lot of projects going on, so I don't know when I'm going to do this. But this is the piece that I got the magazine for. It's called Les Vies des Princesses. Again, I don't speak the French, but I think it's really adorable. There's a lot of backstitch letters, but some, like the M, are more bold. And then there's just little princess motifs throughout the piece. It's just adorable. I think I'll make some changes, but I don't know when I'm going to be able to do this. And it's on pure white linen, which is just charming. So I'm really excited to give this one a try. And of course, when I do decide to start it, you'll see it on my floss tube videos. My next piece of haul is very exciting because it is my first Mirabilia. And I never thought I would do a Mirabilia, but when I saw this one, I just thought it was so gorgeous. I love the dresses. I love that there's two women interacting and it's kind of like a story. One reason I thought I'd never do Mirabilias is because it was just these beautiful women, like, kind of floating in nothingness. Like, a lot of times they aren't in, like, a setting. And that's why I like the Autumn in My Garden, because it's a woman, like, raking leaves, and you can imagine, like, a story behind that. And this one is two women talking at a garden party, and I love the dresses, and I love the lanterns. It's just a really beautiful piece. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be very popular. I don't think I've seen any other floss tubers doing this, but then again, I really haven't been watching a lot of floss tube lately, just because things have been crazy around here. But I think it's beautiful, so I'm really excited to work on this. I also got the thread pack and the bead pack for it. So there is a Krennic. So there's one Krennic, it's number 4 braid. It's a sparkly pink with kind of some glitter in it. And then there are also some water lilies, which is kind of exciting because this is the first time I've ever had silk. I've never worked with silk in the past. So this one is called Blue Lavender. Holding it up against this navy book is kind of making the color look really drab, but it's actually gorgeous. This one is called Grape. Look how, oh my gosh. The color is just so rich on these silks. I've never worked with silks before. This one is called Ink. And these are all by water lilies. And then this last one is called Slate. And it's very interesting. It's a mix of purple and greens. So, some really beautiful threads. I fully kitted up the DMC. And this is all organized by number, but I will insert a picture where it's organized by color because it's absolutely gorgeous. I loved organizing it by color, but then it just wasn't very practical, so I changed it. And then this is the bead pack, actually, which I also got on eBay. So after never buying anything on eBay, I bought, the French magazine. And then after that, I did buy something else, and I bought the Mirabilia and the thread pack for the Mirabilia and the bead pack for the Mirabilia. And the reason I decided to do that is because really it cost a little bit less than off 123 Stitch, and it was probably negligible, to be perfectly honest, but I just decided to go with the cheapest option even though it was only a little bit less expensive. Also, for the Mirabilia, I bought my first ever hand-dyed fabric. So this is like a huge deal for me. First time silks, first time Mirabilia, first time hand-dyed fabric. And I decided to do that because Picture This Plus was having a sale, which apparently they only do once a year. And so I chose Nocturne, and it's a 32 count, kind of dark blue. This is a new start, by the way. I guess I'll just talk about the new start right now since I'm showing it to you. Not that there's much to show. So this is Nocturne. It's a 32 count, and it's just a nice mottled blue. It's not quite as deep of a blue as I thought, as I hoped for, but it's still gonna be nice. And I started the pink and the blue. So I started both girls. I like to start in the middle, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not much of a new start as new starts go, but I think it's gonna be beautiful. It's just, I don't know, I've seen some of you work these up so fast, and I just don't see how that's gonna happen, but I think it's beautiful, and I'm gonna be working on that. Oh, my final bit of haul. Well, first I'll show you this because I think it's really cute. My mom made a ton of like pin cushions as little gifts for her friends for Christmas, and she gave me one. And I chose this one. She had lots of colors, but I chose this one because it matches my sewing box. So this is my sewing box. It's black and yellow and gray, and this matches it. So that's super helpful. So thanks, Mom. So that's not really haul, but it is an acquisition, I guess. So sort of like haul. Final bit of haul. Was something I ordered before I took my boards as a congratulations for taking my boards. And the reason I ordered it before I even went to take them is because I heard it can take up to 3 months to get it. And that's the European cross-stitch pack for Hortus Viridarium, which is the chatelaine that I'm going to be working on. So I got all these silks. There's petite treasure braids, and then all these silks. Beautiful. Some of them are water lilies. Some of them are dinky dyes, and some of them are Glorianas. And that's it. And then there are the treasure braids, of course. And then also the bead pack. And I was so impressed that she gives you like beading thread too, which is nice. I mean, I assume that's what this is. And beading needles. So I haven't started this yet, but I'm gonna start it. At this point, I haven't decided if I want to use this linen. So I went ahead and ordered the pack with the linen included. This is an antique white. And really, Hortus Viridarium is practically a full coverage chatelaine. There are like little pieces that peek through. And I was thinking, I mean, originally I thought, well, it probably doesn't matter because it's just a little bit. So I ordered this. But then I was fooling around on the viewer one day, and I don't know, I think it might be nice to get like a nice green in the background. I mean, like there isn't enough green in the piece anyway. I mean, literally all the silks are green. Not literally, but practically. And so I'm not sure. That's why I haven't started it yet, because I'm still kind of debating with myself what kind of linen I want to work with. So anyway, that's it for haul, I believe. Kind of a lot of haul without a whole lot of stitching, but I think it was a little bit of my stress relief because I couldn't stitch a lot, so I just bought a lot. Really, all in all, it's not really all that much, but it was kind of expensive because it was kitting up 2 big pieces, that have silks, so being the chatelaine and the Mirabilia. But overall, I think I did okay this month. Oh, one more piece of haul actually. This is an 11-inch Q-snap, and I only brought one of the legs over to show you. Because I'm actually using it with the Mirabilia right now. So previously I only had the 11 by 17, which I used for Faith. And prior to that I had just stitched in hand. I had never used a Q-snap. Sometimes I would use a hoop, but I knew that you technically weren't supposed to use hoops on linen, and I think it's just for like, because the hoops deform the linen more. Anyway, so before I had the Q-snap, I stitched in hand, but I got the Q-snap for the hardanger parts on Faith. And then I used it for Lantern Lane as well. But then I really actually did want to use it for Liberty's Welcome because it's such a large piece. It's a little bit difficult to manage in hand, but the 11 by 17 is too small for Liberty's Welcome. And I know that a lot of you just use like a 6-inch Q-snap and you like move it around, but I don't really like doing that because, at least in my experience, I feel like that crushes the stitches and it's not something that I want to do. So when I decided to start this one by Cross and Patch, the Needlework Fantasy, it's an 11-inch square piece if you do it on 14 count, which I'm doing it on 28 count. So it's an 11-inch square piece, but they don't have an 11 by 11 Q-snap. So I bought the 8-inch, okay, which comes with its little snappy thing that is 8 inches. And then I bought the 3-inch extender. So this is 11 inches. And I thought I might have to use this 8-inch piece, but no, the 3-inch extender actually comes with an 11-inch piece. So it's like a fully functional 11-inch Q-snap. So now I have an 11-inch square to use with this. But in addition, the Mirabilia is using the 17 by 11, or sorry, what did I do for this? I think I actually put the 3-inch extenders on the 17. No, it's a 17 by 14. Oh, so I put the 3-inch extenders on the 11. I think is what happened. So, anyway, it's been pretty useful. And then also with some sort of combination of the legs that I now have, I'll be able to use the Q-snap for Liberty's Welcome as well, which I think will be a relief because, like I said, it is kind of a large piece to manage in hand. Now, as far as plans go for this next month, there's a lot of things that I have kind of running right now. So I have Needlework Fantasy. Can we just call that something else? I think that's like a really silly name, but anyway, we'll just call it Hardanger. So I have the Hardanger piece, I have Liberty's Welcome, I have the Mirabilia, and then I have the Christmas present. So that's 4 pieces. So, and then I really want to frame the Faith piece. So hopefully I can find a frame for the Faith piece. It's not, well, it should be high on my priority list. But it's not because I just feel so frustrated with it right now. But anyway, hopefully before I make another video at the end of October, oh, I might not be able to make a video at the end of October actually. Anyway, I'll worry about that later. So hopefully by then I'll have figured out how I'm going to frame the Faith piece. And then I want to work on the Mirabilia and the Hardanger piece. We could probably keep Liberty's Welcome on the shelf for a while and then focus a lot on the Christmas pieces actually, because Christmas is coming pretty fast, and plus I think the Christmas pieces will be really good actually, because I'm going to be going on a lot of trips because I'm going to be doing interviews around the country. That's why I might not be able to do a video at the end of October, because I'm going to be in and out of town. But anyway, regardless, the Christmas pieces are really little, so I should be able to take those on flights with me and work on them easily. So hopefully I'll be able to get a lot done on the Christmas pieces before I make another video. Anyway, that's about it for my video today. Thanks so much for watching, and I appreciate all your comments and likes. A really exciting thing that happened actually since my last video was that I passed 500 subscribers, which is pretty cool. I never thought that I would make it to over 500 subscribers. So thank you so much for watching my videos and subscribing. It makes me feel pretty good. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below and I'll try to answer them. And thanks again for watching. Happy stitching!